this phenomenally successful real estate platform?
Well, it started very young. You know, I knew that I wanted to get into real estate at a young age. I knew it. I had made some promises as a child to my mom and to my parents to change their financial situation. And I started noticing other kids that I used to play with. They had nicer toys, nicer situations, and I realized it was because their parents got into real estate.
Really?
So very young, I knew that real estate was the key. I was 19 years old, and I took a real estate crash course. When I was in the classroom, the instructor of the classroom was raving about how you could do all sorts of things in real estate. You can become a developer, you can become a broker, and I said, well, tell me, sir, if that's the case, then why aren't you doing it? He said, you know, Anthony, I actually own this real estate school. The school was packed. I did the math. He was open the majority of the year. He was making about $1.5 million teaching real estate mandatory licensing classes. So
right.
After that, I said, no problem, sir. I'm going to listen to you. You got my attention. You know, I'm a firm believer that whenever there's a gold rush, you want to be a manufacturer of the pickaxe. So when you're in your own lane, there's no traffic. And what I decided to do was work in real estate. So I worked for a small firm, then I worked for a larger firm, and I really was self-taught because real estate was very competitive and cutthroat. And it was really an older person's game. I was one of the youngest at 19 to get into real estate. And it was interesting, the different prejudices that were around. I faced youthful prejudice. So if you didn't look the part, you weren't going to get the exclusive, you weren't going to work at the high-end real estate firm. So I hung my hat at a real estate company. I started, you know, doing deals right off the bat. But listings were being stolen from me, codes were on my desk, phone calls were being taken from the secretary, you know, all my leads and stuff. So it was very challenging in the beginning to kind of learn the business. Eventually, after rising through the ranks in that firm, I wanted to go and do real estate in Brooklyn Heights. That was my dream because Brooklyn Heights is a really nice neighborhood. So I had a roundtable discussion with some of my top performers. I like to call them Michael Jordans. And so I sat down with my Michael Jordans, my LeBron James, and I said, about 5 of them, and I said, I'm going to open up corporate stores, and I want you to manage, each one of you guys is going to manage the stores. So they were like, yeah, no problem, ready. So here I am signing leases. I embark on a massive technology and video a campaign, and I took down all the billboards that I was subletting and started putting up my own billboards for my own business. So that was kind of a loss in revenue, but I was going to promote my brand. And right when I'm getting ready to launch the first corporate store, they all left and opened up their own branches. So, you know, here I am, I expended all this capital.
Wow.
They were my top performers, and they all left and they opened up their own company. And the reason why was they said, man, if Anthony Lolli believes in me, is willing to put up his own money, then I might as well find an investor or use my own money and open up my own shop. I don't want to be a manager. I'd rather own my own business.
So how long, so from the beginning forming of Rapid, how long has that been? When did you form Rapid?
Well, I formed Rapid when I was 21 years old. I'm 39 now.
Oh, wow.
I franchised it 7 years ago. And I said, because we're not a $500,000 concept, we're not a $1 million concept. It doesn't cost that much to own a Rapid. Less than 150 grand, you could own a Rapid Realty. But I said, the banks are not really interested in just lending $150,000. Not enough. I said, what I found is the people with money don't want to work, and the people without money, they want to work. They want to have this. So I said, the people that want to open up franchises, they don't have credit or collateral, or at least 20 or 30% down to borrow an SBA. I said, if you provide 100% financing, I said, I'll have people lying around the corner. And I have people that are elite, intelligent people that I associate with who make me smarter. So, you know, you have to learn to cut people off, whether it's a relative, whether it's a significant other, if they don't fall into at least one of those 3 categories. So that's my rule. And if they don't fall into one of those 3 categories, they're not in my life any way, shape, or form. And so adhering to those rules, when I dive into my world outside of work, it's that in itself is really a joy. I said, I want to go into this with sincere intentions. I said, I'm going to open up my own franchise, and I'm going to give it to a total stranger, that knows nothing about the business to run it.
Wow.
If they could make it, then I know anybody else can make it. So I opened it up in Crown Heights, around the corner from the homeless shelter over there. I put it in an area, and it's not the Crown Heights it is today. It was, many, many years ago. And so I gave it all sorts of different challenges, and it started performing and outperforming my corporate store. So I knew at that moment that it was opportunity to really grow. And then, of course, people lined around the corner, top performing agents, salespeople, landlords that owned real estate said, put a Rapid in my building, I want to get involved. So it just started growing and growing and growing and growing.